Okay, all right.
It's great to see you all. My name is Conrad Horn, and I am the Executive Vice President of the Student Government Association here at Raritan Valley Community College. And it is my great honor to welcome you to our Fall 2014 Leadership Development Series. Some people can This series is made possible through the contributions of many people, which I would like to thank a few up front. First and foremost, the wonderful people of TD Bank, America's most convenient bank, for sponsoring our Leadership Development Series now for its second year, and we are very happy to partner with them on this endeavor. Additionally, I would like to thank the Office of Student Life and their advisors for all their assistance in planning this event, in addition to Ronnie Weil, who works with the Foundation Office here at Raritan Valley. Her wonderful contributions and connections with TD Bank have helped make this possible. In addition, I would like to thank Ashley Gafnietti for all her wonderful assistance in planning this event. She is the Vice President of Leadership at Phi Theta Kappa, and she helps a lot of this happen. So a big thank you goes out to her as well. Our first speaker for this series has been involved with the nursing field for over 3 decades. She has gained the admiration. She has gained the admiration for peers and administrators by not only showing proficiency in technical skills, but also by being an advocate for her patients. She has since gone through the ranks and has gone on to teaching here at the college, and she serves as our current chair for the nursing department. It is my great honor to welcome Beryl Stetson. Please give her a warm welcome.
All here. Some are familiar faces, some of you are my nursing students and my colleagues. And this talk is more on the motivational focus than so much a scholastic focus. The card that went out about me had me in nursing at 16. Educationally, yes. And I was actually in nursing. Was canceled a month before it was to start. And so I had to wait a year and went into, at 17, went into Kingsborough Community College in Brooklyn. And I got my associate's degree in nursing, then decided to get married and have children, and so there was quite a distance in time between my next degrees. With my RN to BSN, I went to College of Staten Island, and for my Master's of Science in Nursing, I went to SUNY Downstate with my husband. And by that time going together, I'm amazed that we're still married. I'm actually in nursing 42 years. I'm practicing nursing 42 years, and I have worn many hats. Probably my favorite is as a staff nurse, because I think it's an honor when patients allow you to touch them physically, emotionally. That is the biggest honor. And I love my profession. And within that profession, I have, as I said, been a staff nurse. I have also been nursing management. And pretty much what I'm going to be talking about in terms of leadership will reflect upon that time. I was a nurse manager at Maimonides Medical Center in Brooklyn, and this hospital has up to 1,000 beds. It is a huge teaching hospital. And I really learned so much in terms of my profession and in terms of leadership. Since my husband tends to think that because I've been nursing 42 years that I went to school with Florence Nightingale, who is sometimes known as the mother of nursing, I put, Swelly, you said this was going to work.
It worked.
Yeah.
He's pranking you.
There we go.
Okay, so now talk about a delay in my little joke here. He said that I graduated with Florence Nightingale, so here I am at my graduation from nursing school. Can you pick me out? Obviously, right? And I have to thank my department assistant, Jan Hansen, who quickly put that together this morning. It is a great picture. I might substitute it for my real nursing graduation. Going forward, when we're going to be talking about leadership, I want to start by what are the words that come to mind from you? Ellie, could you go up to that, please? What words come to you when you think of a leader? Not an L-I-T-E-R, not a liter of fluid. A leader. Throw out some words.
Courage.
Courage.
Trust.
Trust.
Confidence.
Confidence.
Discipline.
Discipline.
Determination.
Perseverance. Vision.
Wait a second. Discipline, determination. Somebody just say
Perseverance.
perseverance. Don't know how to spell it.
Ambition.
I do. Just gotta see where I am.
Ambition. Any more? Vision. And throughout the talk, I just want you to self-reflect. And we all threw out these words. And I want you to think about, do you have those traits? And how many of those traits at this moment do you think you have? So keep on focusing in on that. And I like to hear definitions. And so the definition of a leader is a position. I really have a problem with this definition coming out of Merriam-Webster's dictionary, but it's a position as a leader of a group, organization, etc. I have a problem when the same word is in the definition, number one. But why can't somebody be a leader of themselves? Why do you have to be a leader of a group? When you're the leader of yourself, you're in control of your destiny, your pathway to wherever you want to be. So my definition would be to be inclusive of not so much having a group, but even leading oneself. Another definition is the time when a person holds the position of leader. Doesn't say much. But the next one is the power or ability to lead other people. Here's that word lead again. When you see power and lead in one sentence, what are you thinking of in terms of a boss or a leader? What do you picture? Is it something comfortable? Is it something comfortable?
Sometimes.
Possibly. Jeffrey, you said sometimes, but the others you said maybe not. Power is something that the good leader uses, gives to another in a good and positive way. Power can be used in a very negative way. And so, at least when I'm done with my talk, I hope that you are having that in your mind when you are trying to say, what type of a leader do I want to be? Okay? Think of it in place of putting the power or the ability to lead other people. How about the power and the ability to guide other people? A really good leader is a guide for the people who they are responsible for. And that word responsible is going to come up a lot as far as leading and being a leader is concerned. Leadership styles. So I did do a lot of research upon it. And one of the things, I'm going to just list a few of the leadership styles that I'd like to discuss. Oh, by the way, you could sit down. A good leader does not stay in one particular style. The word that comes to mind to me when you have a leader that is doing that is somebody who is really rigid with a lack of flexibility. Every day of one's life, things change. You have to go with the flow, and so should a leader. And so here's an example of a few types of leadership styles. So we have the autocrat, and the autocrat makes decisions, and the people follow. Sometimes that's called the authoritative style, and sometimes it's called the commanding style. Then we have somebody who is a free rein leader. That is pure chaos. There is no direction. Everybody is doing whatever they please to do. And then we have this person that's called the democratic or the participative leader. And that leader invites those that are, he or she is responsible for. I even have a problem with saying those that are under that individual. I prefer to say those who are supporting that individual. So the democratic leader wants input, values the opinions, the ideas of those who are on their team. That's a very comfortable leader to be under. But, as I said, one needs to be very flexible in their leadership style. So, if you need to, let's give an example. If you need to make an evacuation plan very quickly, you want somebody to say, well, the fire is right there. All right, all of us come together. What's your idea? What's your idea? What's your idea? Don't think the outcome is going to be very good. So the flexible leader is often referred to as a situational leader. And that's really good. So keep that in mind. When you look at leadership skills, they're all action verbs. Skills are action verbs. And so I'm just going to give you a few. If you would like to look for some others, you can find them at Kent, KENT.edu. Here are some skills. Listen to the verbs. Calculating. Calculating. I do not believe that in order to be a good leader, you need to be calculating in an evil way. But calculating is planning. It may be planning financially. It may be planning for a disaster preparedness. Calculating what are the outcomes, what are the costs. So it's in a positive way. This is when I really like a leader to be. Coaching. Coaching. I've been fortunate. I became a leader at Maimonides. So who becomes the leader? Who becomes the boss? What do you think? Say bigger mouth. Norma says the bigger mouth. Sometimes that's true, but there needs to be substance. Who becomes a leader in general?
The one who has the courage to step up.
One who has the courage, or as the one who, like the others, step back and that person is left in the line. All right? So that's volunteering, sort of. Okay. Generally what happens in hospitals and businesses is the person who is promoted to the leader is the best one in that specialty. So for example, I'm an excellent oncology nurse. And so when it came time to be the oncologist, there was an opening for a director of oncology, the hospital naturally said, Barry, she's the best oncology nurse. Leadership, management is a specialty all on its own. And so I'm going to give you a few more of these action verbs, but the one important thing to realize is when you're taking on a new position, it's important also to find out what will be the support within that institution. Fortunately for me, the institution realized, well, great nurse doesn't mean great manager, and really invested in giving us not only an orientation program with mentors that were excellent. And I am at this point in my speech, I have to recognize these individuals who are my lifelong mentors, Nancy Dorio and Nicole Nicholson, who nurtured and mentored and made me a very good leader. And so the hospital also brought in experts and brought in workshops to say, this is your new role. Let us teach you. So coaching, action verb in terms of a leadership skill. What's important to me now as a teacher, and now as a new chair in my management position now, is to coach. Come on. You all have that opportunity. Let me share what I know. Let me nurture you. So when you all are thinking of developing your own leadership skills, recognizing what's in you, I hope that you have the ability to coach and to mentor. I'll talk more about mentoring in a little bit, but that's part of it. Communicating. Well, that's the biggest one I know of in terms of all levels, from management to staff. That's where everything goes wrong. You always have sideways. You always have sideways communication. The problem with management is you often do not have that up and down communication. Big problems with that. You end up with a lot of rumors that can be very destructive to the morale of your staff and the bottom line to your productivity. So communicating, coordinating. Well, yeah. Sometimes it means if you feel like you're corralling a herd. But the good leader knows, okay, there's these two over here, and okay, this is what they said they're doing. There's these four over here. You have to know what's going on. Very important. And another one that's a favorite of mine, motivating. I get very excited. Sometimes people will say to me, what are you upset about? I'm not upset, I'm alive. And I speak with a tremendous amount of energy. And I'm trying to motivate people to have the same excitement that I have. What are some of the roles you have from day to day that really are leadership? Can you think of some? Elliot? What are some of the roles?
Speak slowly, please.
Being a parent.
Being a parent. So what are you doing, Norma, as a parent?
I guess I'm trying to teach them, trying to motivate them.
Trying to motivate them. You said the word teach. What are you trying to teach?
Teach, I guess, everyday life skills.
Everyday life skills. Okay. So leadership, being a parent, is a leadership role. What else in your everyday lives now as you sit here?
Caretaker.
Caretaker? Absolutely. I've got the leaders of the PTK and the SGA. Is that not?
Certainly is.
It is, all right? So what do you organize. Okay, you're communicating. You're really, if I read down this whole list of action verbs that are considered leadership skills, you're doing it. What else? How about my colleagues back there? What else?
Managing our time. We're taking control of our lives, and leading my own life. I have to manage my time every day.
So Nadine said, managing her time, controlling her life, and that's definitely in line with what I said with the definition. You lead yourself as well. What else? Go ahead, Carolyn.
Set out a work plan.
Set out a work plan. Absolutely. So what a lot of us as instructors will tell the students, time management, have a plan for how you study. Professor Hall is saying a work plan for us as instructors and all the other responsibilities that we may have. Okay, you can sit down. Think about work groups that you might be in. A lot of you are working while going to school. You have meetings about, how to run perhaps, maybe you're working in the hospital and you're working as nursing assistants, how to get all the work done efficiently by sharing and delegating. What about PTAs? What about fundraisers? The person who is trying to take charge of that, that's leadership. So, before I go off of this slide, here are some personal characteristics of a good leader. Authentic, credible, and the best one that I like is trustworthy. I always want my staff to feel that I am telling them the truth, that I am helping them, that I am not coming across with anything dishonest. And that goes along with that communication piece. So I'm going to tell you a story of my management at Maimonides. It was a unionized hospital. And the gentleman who is writing for you is my husband of 41 years. And sure enough, as I was in the management position at Maimonides, he was the union delegate. Very interesting. And so unfortunately they had a work stoppage. And so they were out on the line and management was in the hospital. And so the reason why I'm bringing it up when I'm talking about being authentic, being credible, and being trustworthy, I was driving in the back seat while him and another co-worker were driving up front, and they were telling, oh, well, management is doing this, and did you hear this, that this is going to occur? And I really was so saddened by it. First of all, I wanted to put the white flag out of the window and let me out, but I was so saddened by it because it was all incorrect, totally incorrect. And so it had obviously gone through the rumor mill. And from the back seat, I'm saying, wait a second, do you think that management sits up at night and thinks of ways to make everybody's lives miserable? And piece by piece, am I right? Piece by piece, I tried to explain. It was like playing telephone, what they were saying. So I felt, and to my staff, that I was always very honest, and that is the sign of a good leader. Sometimes you have some really bad news. Sometimes you have to ask people to do things that they really don't want to do. But if you give them the rationale, it's a little easier to do it. So authentic, credible, and trustworthy. Ethical. Ethical. Your decisions, your actions must be dictated by ethics. Accountable, responsible, and reliable. If anything goes wrong, whether it was back in the hospital or now here in my present position, if anything goes wrong, it's my fault. And that's the way it goes. No single staff member is going to be held to the fault, because I should be watching and I should be knowing. So that's very important. And enthusiastic. I am enthusiastic. Are you enthusiastic?
Yes.
Yes. Optimistic?
Yes.
All right, 90% of the time. Visionary. And those of you who are sitting in the room, honest, the world is out there for you. Just anything that you can imagine, if you create a plan, as Professor Hull was talking about, it is available for you. You need one other thing, though. What do you need? What do we give you? Support. Besides that, thank you. What else? Knowledge. Okay, we don't want you dangerous out there. Okay, what's this thing? All right, so I'm influenced very much by people that I have as teachers, co-workers, etc. This comes from my first week, probably, in nursing school at the age of 17, and this came from nursing instructor, or instructors. The first thing they said is, behavior begets behavior. Isn't that the truth? So if I walk over to somebody who's really not in a good mood, and they say something to me and I say, well, it's not my fault, then I'm really going to their behavior. As opposed to if I walk over and say, I see that you're uncomfortable, unhappy. Can I get you a cup of coffee? Can I help you in some way? Perhaps I can get them to be more positive and be more my behavior. Kill with kindness. You know the saying, you get more honey with bees, what is it? Get more bees with one of those. Here you go. My husband shortens this motto. What do you think he shortens it to? Say it loud. Kill. I get more. I get a lot more done. I get a lot more positive feedback than kill. Kill with kindness. And I live with these mottos. I really do. And my nursing students who are sitting here, they know that I tell it to them the first week. Every single year, I tell this to them. And I hope that these mottos become their mottos. So let's talk again about a good leader. Before we get to even anything that's in the literature, this is to me common sense. Give respect, you'll get respect. Be humble. We're human. We make mistakes. You will get more respect from the people who you are trying to lead if you say, my goodness, I made a mistake. Let's learn together. Acknowledge people's accomplishments. Occasionally I watch television. And there was Dr. Phil Donahue was on Steve Harvey's show. And he made this quick comment, I only caught half of it, and he said something about if you blow out somebody's candle, does it make your candle be any brighter? No. I would rather be the leader that ignites and lights the other candles. Can you imagine the degree of illumination we would have? But the comment struck me. A lot of people who are leaders are afraid that if they give credit to some of their staff, their team, that it's taking away from them. Absolutely not. Embrace the members of your team. We embrace our students. If they have done something, a wonderful accomplishment, if they've done something good, even something simple for the day, how do you feel when somebody says, you did a good job? Doesn't that make you feel good? Well, then you as a leader should be doing the same thing. Now, I'm not saying that you walk over to somebody who has really done something horrible. But at the same point, you can walk over and say, how do you feel about this? And then sit down and say, hey, let's go research and see if we could do it a little better the next time. Lead by example. That's my personal bias about leadership. I will never delegate something to somebody if I haven't done it before. And if the whole environment around me, my staff, the sweat is pouring down them, they're going down, I am not sitting in my office. I am going to get my hands dirty. And I have to have been a follower to be a good leader. You have to know what you're asking people to do. That's from me. Here are the traits. So, Elliot, flip that page. So this comes out the first page. The first page.
Bring the first page back.
Yes. I asked you to tell me some words. Now get out of the way. I asked you to give me some words that you thought of with the word leader or leadership. Do you see any that match? Because this comes out of the literature. These first 6 are considered key traits of an effective leader. So intelligence. Well, certainly, you need the knowledge. Included in that, look at how fogged my glasses are. Included in that is good language skills, good perception. What do you think you need perception for to be a good leader?
Know what's going on.
Yeah, because when you walk in sometimes, conversations stop. So good perception. What's going on? You're unhappy today. You have to have those excellent perception skills and good reasoning skills. So what did we have? Intelligence? Anything like that on the list? Confidence, determination, all right. Next one is confidence. Self-assured. Let us be careful with that word. Self-assured. Yes, you need confidence, but why am I concerned about self-assured and confidence? Can you tell me why?
Egos.
Egos, Conrad, right, egos. Anything else? If someone is overconfident and over self-assured, they will not seek out, maybe it's other opinions, they will not go and research, they can really do damage, whether it's in nursing, as is in my field, where you can hurt somebody, or whether it's in business where it might be a tremendous financial loss. So yes, you need confidence, but you also have to have knowledge to go along with it. Charisma. Do you like a monotone voice? This is ABC Medical Center. Visiting on it, I'm just making it. Charisma. Those people are magnetic. Anybody have charisma? Do you feel you have charisma? You have to work on it if you don't feel that way. Determination. Now, determination, that can be interpreted as know where you're going. Know where you're going. So do you have to have a plan? Yes. And how are you going to get there? You have to start knowing that. Sociability. Friendly, outgoing, and showing a general concern for others. A general concern for others. In the hospital environment, I've often told my students, you can tell pretty much a lot of this when you walk on a unit. You don't even have to see that nurse manager. You can feel it when you walk on the unit. Because that individual's charisma, sociability, confidence trickles down. So you can feel the environment, am I right? How many of you talk about a store, talk about a business? Have you felt that way? It basically breaks down to the customer feels unwelcome. Success, do you get success out of that? No. Okay, integrity, and that is honesty and trustworthiness. Integrity. So, once again, you guys were pretty much on target, I think. Other traits that are listed, and I think you have some of them, diligence. And sometimes we would say somebody who's diligent, and I think persistent is up on the list. Perseverance, it's like when a dog gets a bone, and they will not let go of that bone until they're finished with it. So when you look at this perseverance, diligence, these are people who are good problem solvers. They're going to look at it from every which way, and they will not let go until they've got a solution. Strong-willed. How many strong-willed individuals in here? Good. So you know that about yourself. Achievement. I like to say, everybody feel good when they pass the test? That's an achievement. Everybody feel good, then they get a course done towards their degree? Achievement. I think that when you're looking at your leadership traits, you have to look at your achievements. And do not compare them to the person sitting next to you. Each achievement that you make, it's like I have a mental check. Each achievement that you make is bringing you to your goal. It doesn't matter how long it takes. What matters is is when you get there. Not when, for instance, Conrad gets there. Not, for instance, when Ashley gets there. It's when Melanie's going to get there. Right? Very important. And so the others you matched. Persistence and self-confidence. So here are some really famous people. And let's look at their effective characteristics. They're good characteristics in terms of leadership. So for the nursing people sitting out here, there was Florence Nightingale. And so her characteristics were, her best traits were observation and the power of deduction. And because of her and all the data that she collected, she was very involved with making health conditions better. She was aware of how infection was spread. Bill Gates, what do you think were his pretty big characteristics that made him a successful leader? He's still alive. Intelligence. What else?
Perseverance.
Perseverance. Excuse me. Perseverance. What else?
Ambition.
Ambition. is he?
Vision.
Vision. He's a big visionary. One more.
Confident.
What about Oprah Winfrey? What do you think are her traits? What?
Charisma.
Charisma. Absolutely. Is she not magnetic?
She sure is.
What else?
Confidence.
Is she not confident?
Sociability.
What else? What'd you say?
Sociability.
Sociability.
Intelligence.
She's a great communicator. Doesn't she reach a lot of people? And she's also very inspiring. These are all wonderful characteristics of a leader. Oops. So the next slide, again, more things. The leader has to have commitment. Commitment to whatever the project or whatever the service of their environment is, and to their staff. Accountability, responsibility, we've talked about. Improvement, who's improving? Everyone, but how does that improvement take place? The leader. You know, once you get there, oh, well, okay, I'm the vice president, I'm the president. You're not staying there. You have to keep up on improving yourself. You're a change agent. How many of you like change? That was 2 hands are up. 2 hands, 3. Change is rough. It's very hard. People become very comfortable. So the good leader is willing to take the leap and make a change. Right, Linda? Make a change. And lifelong learners. So let me tell you, going back when I was in nursing school in 1970 to 72, my books were this thick. And you see it's like a ½ an inch. If I didn't keep up on what's going on in medicine and nursing, any person who came to be my patient would be dead now. Truthfully. So you, whether it's nursing, whether it's business, you must be lifelong learners. And that's not only true for leaders, that's for people who are followers. You have to be good learners. Go-getter? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But we're doing this fundraiser, yes? Okay, will you contribute? How much will you donate? Is it 1,000 or is it 5,000? Don't give them a chance. The other thing that's very important to me as a leader is fairness. You treat people fair. It's a neutral playground. You treat people fair. Climate controllers. I think I already talked about that. If I'm going to be this enthusiastic leader, there's going to be a very light atmosphere. If I'm going to be, I can't even do it because my dimples don't let me do it. Okay? I can't even give you that face. Could do the face. You're really good at it. You could do a cranky face.
Not now I can.
The cranky face. Could I help you? Yeah, right. Motivators? Anybody. I want you. I want my staff. Okay, I love you. I would lose you would be terrible for me. But I want to motivate you to make yourself better. Go back to school. If there's a better position, I'm behind you. It would be very selfish for me to say, oh my God, my staff is fabulous. I don't have to do too much. No, that's not motivating anybody. You have to motivate people to do better. And mentors, well, we'll have a little bit to say about that. Like the next slide. So you need to, when we talk about mentors, you need to be willing to be mentored and then mentor someone. Let me tell you something, that could be going on at the same time. All right? So I told you about the people who I keep in my heart, who definitely nurtured me into management. Well, now I'm in a new position, new type of management. I've already scoped out who I see are going to be the Nancy Dorio and the Lucille Nicholson for me. I see who has that nurturing quality that is not threatened by having another leader, but who will reach out and teach me. That's what all of you should be doing right now. You should be finding those mentors. It doesn't have to be one person. You look around and you observe. Actually, that's probably the first step of being mentored, is observing and taking everything in. Mentor someone. So I'm just going to show you. On one of these, on that slide, is a commercial. I'm not going to show it because we're not too sure about, it's a commercial, it's a beer commercial. It's Budweiser and the Clydesdales, and it's from Super Bowl 2006. When you go home, take a moment just to see it. It's a beautiful example of mentoring and back and forth. I don't know if you remember it from that year, but it was the baby Clydesdale put his neck into the yoke of the big truck and he wanted to move it. And without him seeing it, there were two grown adult Clydesdales kind of like neighing at each other. And they could see that here was the next generation of leaders, because wasn't that little baby Clydesdale motivated? He went and put his neck in this harness. He didn't have to. And so he's trying to move it, and he's trying to move it, and then it starts to move, and it's really going somewhere. And then what happens at the back of that truck is you see the two adult Clydesdales pushing. So when I looked at that in 2006, I saw myself as the big adult Clydesdale pushing. Of course, Elliot was the other one because, you know, I don't push too much. So even if we saw Elliot and I as the teachers and a student as the baby Clydesdale, today I now see myself as that baby Clydesdale because of being new in the chair position. So go view it. I just wasn't sure about the legality of showing it, let alone that it's selling beer. And just to show you, I want you to think, where are you on this continuum of expert versus novice? Where are you? So some of you might be here as students. Some of you in this room are teachers. But we're mentors and advisors. And you are mentors and advisors for each other. When you graduate, you're going to be a novice in whatever your new specialty is. And so you will be given a preceptor or a mentor. And then the continuum goes on and you become the expert. And you're the mentor. And here comes another new grad or new staff. And it goes around and around and around. So just visualize yourself and say, where am I now? I want you to write, you are here. Where are you? Please don't ever forget what it was like to be a student. There's a saying in nursing that sometimes we eat our young. That happens in all industries. We maybe just verbalize it. Don't forget what it's like to be a student. I was going to say, don't forget what it's like to be a stomach. You think I'm hungry? Reach out to new students and new employees. Empower them and help them to be successful. They're going to be your colleagues. Again, critical thinking skills, essential to be good leaders. Problem solving, prioritizing, and the big one is delegating. Delegate appropriately, because if you don't, then that person who cannot be successful with what you gave them, you're really pushing them back. You're hurting them. You're not nurturing them. We talked about motivation. Think about team. It's not me, leader, you, team. It's us. Very important. And create a sense of community. Sometimes I'll walk around and say, you're mine. Yeah, you're mine. I'm responsible. You're mine. You're mine right now. You're very possessive. What is your potential? So think about what we just spoke about. You need to, first, identify which one of those traits you have. Secondly, what additional talents do you have? Well, nobody would ever hire me to be a dance instructor because I'm very clumsy. But what is the special trait that you have? Can you fix photos? Can you sing? You have to, there are forms available online where you literally start and you list these things, and they're plans. What leadership skills do you possess right now? And when have you used them? What were the experiences? How do I develop missing skills that I have? And how would you do that?
Find a mentor. Find a mentor.
Find a mentor. What else? How about volunteering to do something related in that particular area? Do you have a personal or a career plan? And so you're going to go online where you can simply make columns. Where do I want to be in 1 year? What do I need? What skills? What knowledge? What do I need? Where, and you repeat that, in 5 years and in 10 years. Where do I expect to be? If you have that plan and you have that column that says, well, you need a certificate in such and such, or you need a degree in such and such, then you sit down and you're planning, okay, I want to be there in 5 years, it's a 3-year or 2-year amount of education. You plan, and you put it in writing. It's easy to think about it in your head, but you don't have that little check that you can do. Okay? So getting the job. So whether it's a job so that you can develop your leadership skills. What does your resume look like? You would be surprised if you were the president of the PTA how important that is, because that indicates that you really have leadership skills. Get professional advice when you're doing your resume. Do your homework for the pre-interview. Go online. I don't know if businesses, very few businesses don't have a website. What's its business? What days of the week? Where is it? What's the product? The interview. Goodness knows I've had people come to interview with me wearing the most bizarre clothing, which is the next one. I've had people show up in short shorts, you know, Daisy Dukes. Okay? Why? Well, I'm going to be wearing a uniform anyway. Excuse me? I've had people walk in, why do you want this job? I don't know. Well, maybe you don't. Make something up. And post-interview, follow up. Don't walk out and say, oh, they'll contact me. Maybe. But follow up. Simple thank you note. Just little things. And, oh, I got a management job. Congratulations. Is the job for you? What's the most important thing?
Convenience?
Happiness? Happiness? Your health?
Money.
So, questions that you might want to ask yourself. Urban versus rural. Do you want to travel? Do you want to be in a smaller community to work, or do you want to be in a larger urban city? What available positions are there? For instance, if you can't graduate and jump into the VP position, what positions are available that have potential, that can give me the skill that I might need in the next position to become a leader? Orientation program. You see how many stars? I wanted to keep going. I would out and out ask, how do you orient this individual to the business itself, but to my position? What's the compensation? Don't ask that on the first interview. And then you have to, Jeffrey, you said convenient, right?
Yeah.
You have to determine whether time and distance is good for you. So these are important questions to ask. Keep growing, continuing education, journals, conventions, seminars, workshops, go to anything, because not only do you learn, but you network. Get your specialty certifications, keep going with education, join student associations and professional associations, network and share with colleagues, and keep on with the current research. Again, I ask you to ask yourself, where are you going to be at 1 year, 5 year, and 10 years? And I want you to mold your careers. Ellie, could you take this? I won't give it out. I want you to mold your careers. Transition from student to professional can be challenging, but take steps. What Elliot is giving out is Play-Doh. I want you to take it and mold yourself into the leader that you want to be.
Thank you.
So go forth and mold your careers. But I'm not done. Ashley and Conrad asked me to speak a little bit because it's October and it's breast cancer awareness. So just bear with me for 3 slides and I'm done. Warning signs. Now this is male and female. In 2014, approximately 290,000 cases of breast cancer will be diagnosed. 2,300 of those breast cancers will be men. So it's male and female. And what are the warning signs? Would be a lump or a thickening on the breast, on the breast or under the arm. A change in the appearance of the breast. When we say that, you might see some swelling, you might feel some warmth, you might see discoloration. If it's red, or even if it's like a black and blue mark, that needs attention. Any discharge of fluid coming from the nipple, pulling inward, there's a dimpling that occurs, and it actually makes the appearance of the breast almost look like it's facing in a different direction. At the nipple, if you have itchy, scaly rash, and this rash looks like the skin of an orange. Or if you have new pain, and it doesn't go away. Risk factors, again, as I said, the majority of them are in women, but we do still have 1% that are in males. This is a cancer that the majority of the cases is in women of 50 or older. Genetics, there is the BRCA genes. There are certain oncogenes, but that is usually hereditary. Family history puts you at a higher risk if you have a mother or a sister that has had a history of breast or ovarian cancer. Race, it's higher in Caucasians. Personal history, it's if you've had a history of breast cancer that you're at a higher risk for it occurring again on the other side. These are guidelines. This is the National Cancer, I always get it backwards, the National Comprehensive Cancer Associate Network. Women aged 20 to 39, you do monthly BSE, and did you give that all those handouts? The handouts are on both in English and in Spanish. And a clinical exam by a healthcare provider every 1 to 3 years. Women 40 and over, again, monthly BSE, breast self-exam, and a clinical exam yearly, and screening mammograms yearly from age 40 and older. Now, if there are any pre-existing conditions, then these will be customized. Gentlemen, you need to do self-breast exam every month the way a woman does as well. You do not have as much breast tissue, and therefore if it would occur, it could spread faster. So it's important for you to be doing that along with self-testicular exam. Last slide. Are we okay? Do the last slide? Yeah. Okay. These are, this is American Cancer Society. It's called the 7 Danger Signs of Cancer. So it uses the word caution. And so when you see C is a change in an bowel habit. A change. It doesn't mean that you ate some bad food and it occurred for one night. We're talking about we now are changing how frequent or what it looks and it's staying that way. A sore that doesn't heal is A. Now, what do people do? They scratch and they scratch and they scratch and they infect it. But if this is something that is just not going away, it needs attention. U is for unusual bleeding or discharge. Any place there's an opening in the body, blood or discharge should not be coming out. And so that needs to be looked at. T is a thickening or lump, and I mentioned it in breast cancer. It could be anywhere on your body if you feel a lump or that the skin feels thicker than it usually is. It needs to have a follow-up. I is for indigestion or difficulty swallowing. Obvious change in the wart. So we all have marks on our bodies that we're born with. If they're in big traffic areas where there's constant friction, or if you've exposed it to ultraviolet lights, it can change into first precancerous and then skin cancer. N is for a nagging cough or hoarseness. So the N, think about smokers, or people who are exposed to asbestos or chemicals. Where we went up to I, indigestion, you think about it could be esophageal cancer or any kind of gastrointestinal cancer. So whether you're doing self-breast exam or you're going down this list, don't do the ostrich syndrome. Oh my God, it'll go away. Don't panic. It doesn't mean that you have cancer. It means that you need to be seen by a healthcare provider. And so, as I promised, I'm done. But dream, always dream. Dream of where you are now and dream of where you're going. And as I said, use the Play-Doh, whether you use it for stress, which is also a good reason, or just think about, I'm molding myself into a nurse, or I'm molding myself into a financial analyst, or whatever your goal is. Be a positive influence to everybody around you, including yourself, be a change agent, don't be stale, and improve the world that we live in. Because Ellie and I are going to look up and I'm going to see somebody taking care of me that I hope was sitting in the classroom.
Amen to that.
I like that. Thank you.
Leadership is especially on its own, like Beryl mentioned, and this is why we have the Leadership Development Series, so that you can grow in your leadership skills as well as grow as an individual. So we just wanted to thank you today, Beryl, for coming out today. You have motivated us to become stronger leaders in our position, and we hope that she motivated you. So we have your
Thank you. Oh, thank you. You can have it. Thank you very much.
Let's hear it one more time from Ms. Beryl.
And thank you all for coming too. And I hope you enjoyed the food.
We did, it was great.
Our next event we have is on November 4th. Is Steve Lang. He is the CEO of DSMB, and this is co-sponsored with Enactus in E109 during college hour. And also in November we have, on November 13th, Edie Lutnick. She's the co-founder and executive director of the Cantor Fitzgerald Fund. TD Bank has provided us the funds to be able to give out her book. So if you're able to come and attend this event, we have the book in the back for you to sign out. It's an unbroken bond. Her brother was one of the 658 Cantor Fitzgerald family members that had lost. Cantor Fitzgerald was the 103rd, 104th floor during 9/11 of the family's loss. So it's a very great book, and we have the books in the back if you'd like to sign it out to attend the event. That's at 1 p.m. on the 13th, as well as 6:30, which will be a panelist discussion with other families involved. So again, thank you all for coming. Thank you.
I'm in the next one.
I know. I'm just going to open it up. That's all. I'm excited about it.
How are you though?
I enjoyed this. It's your Play-Doh. We mold ourselves into the leader.
And what did you think of today's speech?
I thought it was fantastic. We love having the series start off on such a positive note. It was really inspirational, and we truly enjoyed having Ms. Stetson speak for us. We're also very excited for our future events on November 4th with Steve Lang, which is the event we're co-sponsoring with Enactus, and of course on November 14th with Edie Lutnick coming to speak about her local experiences.
And
Send me the pics, okay?
Oh, for sure.
And what was the one thing you got out of today's?
There was a lot, so it's hard to pick one particular thing, but essentially to go and you have the power and inspiration to mold yourself into whatever leader you want to be. I think that sort of was the most beneficial. And the little giveaway she had with the Play-Doh sort of really hit that point home.
That's good.
No problem.